Alright, so I'm gonna break this down for you. So if you have a 318 or whatever and you've got headers in a 4 barrel, what you end up with, sorry for the shitty quality, what you end up with is these here is the weights, and then you've got a vacuum advance. So I'll break this down how this is working for or against you. So this is your pickup coil, and it has this reluctor wheel. Each one of these points stands for one of your cylinders. You'll notice there's 8. And when it goes past, it senses the drop, and the magnet tries to pull it towards it, and it's got a little sensor in here that senses the ohms of how much force it's trying to pull this against there. So when your vacuum, so these weights swing out when you hit the gas, and they advance it a little, and then your vacuum comes in on this when the motor gets up to speed, gets the vacuum coming to pull that in, and then that turns this a little bit on that reluctor. You see how we got an adjustment, sorry, right there. So what the forum and Uncle Ted's garage says is you can get a kit that is got limiting little rubber pieces you put in there and here, and then you'd have different weight springs. But if you ain't made of money and you're just trying to do a burnout and get rid of lean burn on the highway, you just, if you're in my case scenario, if you're in my shoes with like a stock bottom end, nothing going on really, I welded these out to where this the line for your pickup, this line, when you weld these, just I took a 5/8 wrench and put it across there, outside of the jaw there, inside there, to measure from the outside to where these were even. Is just a simple poor man's way. And then this line here should be somewhat close. This, to break this down, this side of your line, this side right here, needs to be lined up with the outside of this tooth here. Don't ask me why. It's just because of the geometry of how they've made this for the timing of the motor. So then it changes your total timing to where when you set your timing to, let's say I set it to 6 degrees. Well, now my weights are, this whole mechanism is set pretty much to 0. So now I'm getting straight 6 degrees with less advance. So then when I'm on the highway and I punch the gas, these swing out, or if I'm doing a burnout, these are going to swing out quicker because they're further out. And the way centrifugal forces work is it's trying to pull out with, when it's spinning, you ever seen a spinning top? Like, it's spinning, but if it gets off this way, it corrects itself 180. So by the time it's over here, it gets back to normal. So almost like a spinning top, how it pulls out in all directions, and if it has any kind of turbulence, it'll even itself out 180, which means opposite. It'll be even by the time it rolls to here, one revolution all the way around back to there, 180. So these weights inevitably swing out. So what you can do, next step, it depends on your case scenario. You can leave your small spring and take your big spring off. But for my case scenario, I've left my big spring and I've just slid this adjuster in a little bit to where it's got a little bit of slack, because like it would stock, you know what I'm saying? And that way this isn't over tensioning that, since these are set here instead of, since these would be set here instead of there. So in hindsight, you got to loosen that a little bit or use your weak spring, but I want it to still have good highway torque, so I'm leaving my strong spring. But you see I stretched it a little bit here on, see what we can do here. That coil there, let me do this here. Yeah, you can just stretch that coil a little bit and move this tab in here, And now we're talking results. And then seem like if you roll your engine around correctly, then through this hole here you can bend that tab tighter if you need with the screwdriver. But it takes some doing. You gotta spin your motor over and figure out where this tab is and in correspondence to this hole. So that's it. Till then, keep shitting out your asshole and fuck off.